Hi, everyone. Welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am really glad you're here. Today's date is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. Before I get into this video, I'd like to make an announcement. I have decided the focus for this coming Sunday's live stream meditation that I host each month. We're going to be meditating on purposes, and it's deliberately plural. I think many people focus on wondering what their purpose is, not realizing that we have several of them, each of us do, and I think there's one we all have in common. So if you would like to either participate positively in this meditation, or if you would like to observe in neutrality, you're welcome to join us. As always, these meditations are on YouTube via live stream starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can use a time zone calculator to see what that might be for you. But again, not inviting everyone, just those that want to observe in neutrality or participate positively. So that'll be this coming Sunday, and you can find out when you get there what I think the common purpose we all have might be. Okay, so I had a few days where I didn't do a video. It was deliberate. There is still a lot of information coming out, some of it conflicting, some of it confirming, about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Regardless of whether it was a staged event or a way to go into witness programming or witness protection or something like that, he has left the public stage. And I didn't want, as I said in my other video, when I said let's look at his legacy, not try to parse out what's going on here, because I don't think we're ever going to get the exact accurate truth on that. Well, I just thought, since that seems to be the big topic, I'm going to stay out of it, even though a video might earn some money if I explore, items about who's involved. I don't want to help generate loosh with my viewers or myself. I don't want to capitalize on someone else's pain and heartache, and a lot of people were hurting as a result of this event. No matter, as I said, what subtext was going on, what other, things were coordinated or not. A lot of people were very much affected from, and I thought it was beautiful that some of those who were affected said, I didn't agree with his politics, but those children have a right to have a father, and that wife has a right to have a husband. And just seeing the humanity that was shown, it kind of offset some of the major inhumanity that was shown about the event, people celebrating and happy. And I watched a video yesterday by a YouTube content creator who has a much bigger following than me, so she doesn't need the shout out. I just like to show you what kind of spurs my thought process. And I'm going to take you to share screen and show you the video, just, the thumbnail of the video that I saw and watched, and talk about that a minute and see if at least one point that she touches on has some accuracy that the tarot cards confirm for us. Let me go to I'm going to the YouTube channel, the homepage for Carrie Kay. And the video I watched was this one, Why Charlie Kirk's Death Triggered a Mass Timeline Shift. There'll be a link to that in my video description box. Now, I just want to say, I like that Carrie Kay does a nice balance of offering content at no charge, and that's the only way I've ever viewed her. So anything that's behind a paywall, and she does have things that are behind a paywall, I have no idea about. So it's not a blanket endorsement when I say that I watched that video. And I'm going to say right now, there's one or two things I didn't disagree with, but I'm not yet fully on board with. And I don't need to say what those are. We all need to use our own critical thinking skills and decide for us what information seems to be true, what might be true, but we're waiting to get a little more information. And I'm there on a few of those topics. But rarely do I kick something totally out of the ballpark and say, oh, no way anymore. I've learned better than that. And I hope you have too. Just that's part of starting to have an open mind where you're not gullible. You don't buy everything at face value, but you say, oh, I'll wait till there's more information before I decide on this. I'm gonna hold off on that one. Every once in a while, there's something I go, oh, there's just no way. I refuse to live in a timeline where that's a possibility of that happens. It may happen. It may, but I'm not gonna give my energy to be on that timeline. So let's see. What I wanted to look at was Carrie Kay's theory says that Charlie Kirk's assassination triggered a split in the timeline. And she's been talking about this, that light workers, and not everybody that's a light worker has an active role. Some of us just hold the light by trying to be the best human we can be. That those of us that are doing that are actually going to help those that are kind of on the fence to make the jump up to a higher level state of being rather than the lower one. And didn't we see that with the coverage of that tragic event where some celebrated the death, including right there at the scene, and some were heartbroken and upset. So a big divergence. And while I said in my video that we need to find common ground, I do believe that there's a point at which there's not a whole lot of common ground. That you choose to be deliberately evil, you let it indwell in you, you welcome it. You're obviously taking a path I'm not taking, if that's the case. But there were a lot of people that had clung to the label being liberal or being on the left until they saw how that seems to be playing out, what it looks like, sounds like, and acts like nowadays. And those people, I do think there is value in reaching out to them and saying, just because you identified as left for all your life, it doesn't mean that I don't see you as a worthwhile human being. And I so appreciate that you're starting to consider other points of view or to step away from a belief system that no longer works for you, that doesn't seem to be one of love, one of doing your best to be the best person you can be. So that was kind of the point of her video, was Carrie's video. At least that was one of my takeaways, was that there are some people now that are determinedly in a 3D timeline, however that's rolling out. There's some who are working towards an ascension path to 5D. And by the way, we're not stopping at 5D, folks. I think there's limitless Ds, but we'll go with 5 first. So she said that light workers, that those of us that are trying to be that best version of ourselves we can be, whether we're actively doing light work or just simply holding that candle up, that we can be reaching out and helping those people, that this event actually finally shook them to the point that they said, no, this is wrong. Celebrating a death and celebrating children losing their father, celebrating someone being killed because their opinion differed from mine. This is wrong. This is wrong. That those people are going to be looking for that hand that says, you know what? Consider this viewpoint then. How about moving over here to the center and taking a look at what we believe? You don't have to be at the extreme of either place to find some common ground in the middle. So I want to ask the universe about that. Is this theory that there is a divergence in the timeline that is actively ongoing? And I know some of you are going to say, oh, we already know it. Some people that it is. But I want to see if this event was a catalyst for some of that path divergence that many speak about in the alt community, and that Carrie, again, in this video spoke very specifically about. So let's see what the universe wants us to know about path divergence. Are we there yet? I think we might be. Let's find out. So is there a timeline split that is either in the initial stages or ongoing? And was the Charlie Kirk assassination the event that sparked some of this, plus additional insights and information the universe might want us to know? So was that event, that tragic event, no matter what the motives or rationale or what coordinated efforts might have been going on, was that event as recorded and as it's going down now in our human consciousness and news narrative, was that event one that sparked a timeline split plus additional insights and information? Okay, we have the 10 of Swords, the Hermit, The Six of Cups. By the way, this is my Charlie Kirk card. Every time I've done a read about Charlie Kirk, this card comes up, and I think it's a beautiful card because it's about sibling love and just innocent love between little ones, and it often indicates a reunion or a reconciliation. So that's our Charlie Kirk card in the recent past. So the universe really is talking about this event for us. Then we have the Page of Cups, Knight of Cups, King of Cups, lots of cups. And again, this is an emotionally charged news story, news event. Then we have the Four of Wands, and I'll get a few more cards before we're done because when we examine the timeline, we could almost do one of the huge spreads. I just don't know that the camera could accommodate it. Let's look what we have here. We're using this one. The situation is the Ten of Swords, which talks about an ending. So Charlie Kirk's story did end. And now, whether his life did or not, I'm not even going there. I don't want to. There's little children involved, so we're not going there. We're just going to say his story, his life story has ended for our timeline, and so Charlie Kirk's story has ended. The Hermit is our divine card of the divine, and shedding a light on this situation because what they're saying here is this event did trigger some good. There has been some good results from it, from people that the little maybe the little unexpected gift involved with this was people getting shaken out of their complacency or their willingness to hang on to that liberal labeling and messaging. And so that's kind of the hidden benefit here. Now, on the practical side, it has been an opportunity for our Secretary of War to clean some ranks of people that advocated for violence, which anytime, it's like yelling fire in a movie theater. You can't do it. There's consequences. There's freedom of speech. But if you are encouraging the incitement of violence, that's like yelling fire in a theater, and there's consequences for that. So that's happening with our military, for one. Then in other career paths, people are finding out that if you celebrate someone losing their life over a difference of opinion, you might not have room to complain if you lose your job over yours. Let's look at the near future. And I don't mean to be contentious here, but if you don't like what I said, oh well, I said it. Again, we have freedom of speech, but we got to use some discretion on it, and it calls for harming others or supporting that or condoning that or just not the path to take. Let's look at the near future here. So we got the Knight of Cups again. Ready to move forward, some restless energy going on here. We got the wings here. I think we're getting some nods here that things are changing. And the King of Cups just talks about emotional intelligence. So in other words, there's not going to be a front page news headline that you can read that says ascension has begun or timelines are splitting and you have 48 more hours before your path is chosen for you. It won't be a headline event. Use your emotional intelligence to decide what feels right for you, and then no matter what feels right for you, again, to act in the best love and light-filled way you can with however you choose to believe. The Four of Wands for our near future, another insight card and information. To me, this is just saying, we're going to be celebrating. There's going to be some divergence. We got the 2 and 2 here, a lot of equanimity going on here with the Four of Wands. And so I think we're getting a yes that this did. It was a huge catalyst for things. There's been a little unexpected gifts involved with this, again, with people getting kind of shaken out of complacency or maybe rethinking labels they formerly embraced. Let's see what else we have here. Plus, there's all the chapters of Turning Point that I've got requests to open up. So it's really been, Turning Point is taking off. It's not going away just because the founder was killed. We've got the Sun. We have Knight of Swords. We have the Seven of Pentacles and the Four of Swords. How does this factor in with talking about timeline and divergence. No hard yes here, none. Hints that, yeah, this was a catalyst event, and there's been some surprising developments that are going to end up working out for the best for humanity, for people maybe changing their mind and changing their path and changing their outcome as a result of that. Let's look here because his son talks about beginnings and things moving in the right direction. It's innocent life. Um, and so I, again, just that nod to the fact that, when you hear talk about timelines and timelines diverging, it's not crazy talk, guys. It is something that we can anticipate happening. The Knight of Swords, again, just kind of action oriented and ready to move forward. Now, as we move forward, here's something else here. We had this nod to the fact that and I mentioned that Charlie Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA, has had a huge bump in membership requests. And that's only the beginning. There's going to be more. And again, here, what we're seeing here too, as far as the timeline goes, this card is indicating that, yeah, there are people that were on this side of the aisle that are coming over here, and there's more to come, more to come. So the final card is our card that's got a little mystery involved in it. It says that we're giving some information enough that we can decide whether there's some truth in what we're hearing or what we're considering, but there's also some information that the universe, again, when you get down to like, well, exactly when is it going to be too late to change your mind? Or when is it too late to make a decision? Or when is it? We're not going to give the exact when because these are heart-driven decisions and information that you need to be mulling over and deciding for yourself. And then I would just say, sooner's better than later. So if something feels true to you, if there's action that you feel in your heart you should take, or a stance you should rethink, do it now, not later. Okay? Don't have those regrets. Let's recap. I was deliberately taking a little bit of a pause from current events, even though they might be lucrative to do right now, because we're in a time where there's a lot of people that are reacting emotionally to events that have happened, and there's lots of information that conflicts or confirms some suspicions, and I just didn't want to get into that. Okay, what we know for a fact is that the Charlie Kirk's story has ended. He has left the stage, however that happened or came about. And I didn't want to give time and energy to the negative energy that was involved with that. Well, while I was saying, okay, and I'm going to just step back. My job is to hold the light. My job is to be positive. My job is to be as informed as possible. And right now, being fully informed is not happening yet. And with the way the world has gone, as far as giving us information, it may be quite some time, if ever, before we get the full truth known, even if we suspect it strongly. So as I was taking that little breather, I came across a video by a content creator that I really admire and like, and that's Carrie Kay. And yesterday she put up a video talking about how Charlie Kirk's assassination had kind of been the catalyst for a timeline split, a timeline change, that we were at a point of divergence. And she said it's very obvious. And I'm just paraphrasing here. This is my understanding, my takeaway. Watch the videos, see what you think. She just said that it's very obvious that there's some people that are so set on a path of negativity and evil that they're going to stay there. But there's some who were jolted by how can you celebrate a father and a young man being killed simply because he had different opinions than yours? And that the job of those that are trying to be love and light filled is to hold those candles high, stretch those arms out, be ready, because there's people that are making, even in this 11th hour, are making that shift away from negativity and into one where life is valued and you try to, again, consistently be the best version of yourself that you can be. So we asked about that. Is that theory that there's a timeline split going on true? Now, I wasn't expecting a hard yes, which we do get when we get an ace, and indeed we didn't get one. We got some really interesting cards. First of all, the topic, because we asked if this event of the assassination was a catalyst. We had the Ten of Swords, which talks about an ending. Again, the ending of Charlie Kirk's story has happened. Okay, he's got definitely a legacy, and is going to. It's there's a lot of momentum behind the things he spoke about. That hasn't gone away, but his storyline, as far as the public perception is gone. The recent past, this card always comes up in regards to Charlie Kirk. And it's a card of reconciliation. And often part of what he was doing with Turning Point USA was trying to reach out and reach people with polite discourse and facts and information. So this card shows up for Charlie consistently, and it's a beautiful card. When we got into the current and then looking ahead, we had the Page of Cups that said, this event was very emotional for a lot of people. There's a lot of strong emotions, negative and positive, about the event, people handling it, how they reacted to it, or consequences for their actions. But there's been some slight gifts involved. And part of that, again, is yes, this was a nod to Carrie's accurate, that some people were shocked out of their complacency, out of their willingness to hold tightly to a label of liberalism if that meant celebrating the ending of a life just because a viewpoint differed from yours. And so it did. That's the benefit. The other benefit is there are, in the military, they're using some of those social media posts that celebrated or encouraged more violence to have some consequences for people. As we've always known, we have freedom of speech, but you can't yell fire in a movie theater without a consequence. You have to have some discretion about what you say, how you say it, and where you say it. So you have the free speech, but that doesn't mean you're free of consequences. We looked at the near future. We had the universe already told me here with the King of Cups. This is one of those topics you have to use your discernment, your intuition on. You have to say, the facts seem to support this, but not completely. It's something I have to judge for myself. So use your emotional intelligence was the strongest advice card that we got as far as this topic, and whether you accept it and add it to your strong possibility of being right or not pile. The Four of Wands was our next insight card. And again, where this has some balance, the 2x2, I did think that this was, and especially if you look with these people, they're reaching across, and with their joined hands and their hands here, they reach across. And Carrie Kay mentioned in her video that the purpose of many of the light workers or light holders in our reality is to reach across and help people make that jump from the negative to the positive. And so here was the card that strongest to me and most strongly said, yes, yes, that path, that information. This was a catalyst event. There is some timeline adjustments that will be ongoing, and there are two paths, and there are those who will help people move from one to the other. The near future, we had the Sun card show up, and this is a card that says things are moving in the right direction, and yeah, just kind of a nod to, yeah, this directional change is ongoing and happening. There's going to be more people who leave the far left, and on my card here, this is the left side of the card, and come to the middle, or start mulling over again that just complacency of keeping a label, and then accepting all of the talking points that go with that. So there might be people that say, I used to be a staunch liberal. Now I'm more in the center. Now I think this. I can't celebrate someone being killed or hurt because their viewpoint differ with me. I can't. We're going to that's a bridge too far. So there's going to be more, and there's also, again, this is also a nod to Turning Point USA. Their membership is going to grow and grow and grow, and the values that were imparted in that, and the mission statement is going to have a big effect. By the way, one final Charlie Kirk note. I know people have labeled him, and people throw those labels out because they heard someone else say it. I have yet to see anybody provide, in context, any kind of quote from Charlie Kirk that would be cause for a negative label. So I encourage you, if you haven't, if you heard he was a this, he was a that, he was a this, he was a that, go back and listen and read some of the transcripts and see for yourself. Okay. The man had some strong views, but they were very loving and in many ways inclusive. You have the right to your opinion, you have the right to your lifestyle. I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm not going to endorse it. Again, just and then and he was hated for that, for having some values that he consistently believed, and we have to allow people to have those differing views and differing opinions. And just know that with information and time and maturity, or just bumps in the road, those views can change, both from the left or the right. So just wanted to share that with you. The final card, a little caution here, just saying that even though there's enough in this read for you to realize you're getting a positive nod, that yeah, there's some divergence that is going on with people's life paths and even maybe our reality. But there's some information, and especially the specifics of, well, do I have this month to figure it out or do I need to do it today? The tarot doesn't work like that, and the universe doesn't work like that. Okay. And people that give you a specific date for something, I would caution you to use your discernment. But what we're getting is a nod that, yeah, this is information that's worth mulling over, considering maybe doing a little more research on. And it's a viewpoint that you might not want to thoroughly reject. And in fact, you may want to embrace it because there's truth to it. That was what I got out of it. And if you come up with something different or you choose not to believe it, that's fine. I am okay with people having differing views from me. Share them politely. And I pray and hope that if you do have a differing view, that you, like me, say, in time or with more data, I could shift somewhat on this. But right now, I think this is very true. And the cards seem to confirm that right now, this is pretty darn true. There's truth happening, and there's some timeline activity that's exciting. And we'll just have to wait and see. As someone also pointed out today, I noticed that the 17 posts, none of them promise a financial reset. There is talk of gold, but none of them promise a financial reset. None of them talked about healing technologies. What the 17 posts talked about was a new earth and ascension. Something to think about. That's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time and your attention and your patience. And if you're willing to receive it, I send you love, light. I wish you everything bright. Until next time, bye.